Today we're heading up into the North Country from our marvelous Zoom studio, and we're going to visit an artist and a tarot card reader, someone I've known for a long time and have had the pleasure of working with on the TV show. So today let's welcome Mary Alps. Hello, Mary.
Hello, Marilyn. So nice for you to invite me.
I'm really looking forward to our chat today because we're talking about my favorite topic, tarot cards.
Yes.
But you know what? Tarot cards find us, don't they?
They do. They
And
absolutely do.
And how did they grab hold of you?
Well, I've always had an interest in the metaphysical world. Since the earliest I can remember, I used to read stories as a little girl about that kind of thing, tarot readers and fortune telling and whatnot. And I just want to say tarot reading is not fortune telling. But when I lived in Toronto many years ago, I saw an ad in the newspaper. Somebody was offering a tarot reading course. And so I jumped at the opportunity, and I've been hooked ever since. And that's probably about 26 years ago now. Yeah.
I've watched you study the cards. You know, we've studied together. You've come to the psychic roundtable I have in my home. And I noticed that you read cards in a very unique style. How does that work for you?
Well, I don't tend to stick to the normal Celtic cross spread. I find that's a bit uncomfortable for me. And that's just my personal preference. But several years ago, I was talking to another local psychic about it. And she said, well, you don't have to do that. And she said, just spread all your cards out on the table and you'll find the pattern and the picture. And so I started to do that. And that absolutely works for me. So when I'm reading, I'm using my intuition about what I'm speaking to my client about, but I'm using the cards to tell the story and to put it all together. And I tend to move my cards around on the table. They're not just set in any particular position where, you know, this one means the past and this one is the future. I move them all around, and that kind of supports what I am talking to my client about.
I find when I move the cards around, it helps people see that their fate is not engraved in stone.
Exactly. That is exactly it. I like to say that tarot tells a story, but you write the ending. And that's the nice thing about reading tarot cards is, you know, life is not a bowl of cherries. And we have our ups and downs. And the tarot does not always come out nice and sunny and happy. And the tarot cards can give you options for how you might proceed and how you might manage it. It can kind of give you an advance notice that if you keep doing what you're doing, this is likely the direction, this is likely what is going to happen and how it'll play out. But if you don't want that, you can change that. You've got the power to change your course.
You also know the meanings of the cards.
Yes, I do.
And so what does that add to a reading? What's the value of knowing what the cards mean?
It adds an extra layer. I tend to be a bit of a teacher as well when I'm reading the cards for people. I explain what different things mean. I understand the energy and the meaning of numbers. And so that adds an extra layer. You know, if I see a number 2 come up, it often means duality or making a choice, can be a relationship, people coming together. There's different meanings for each of the cards depending on what the reading is about. They can be interpreted different ways. So I like to point out the symbolism and relate it to how, relate it to what I'm speaking to my client about so that they understand.
And what do the clients get out of these sessions?
Well, I think they get a very thorough reading that is easily understood for them. And I want them to walk away from a session feeling uplifted and feeling like there's a plan of action that they can follow, in the event that the cards aren't all happy afterwards. So my greatest joy in doing readings is seeing a satisfied person walk away with a plan of action, or with a smile and a light step and happiness that they've had a really lovely reading.
So if I'm understanding the way that you do readings, you move the cards around, you use your knowledge of the cards, you use your intuition. What does the person getting the reading do?
The person getting the reading, I always encourage them to talk to me. Um, the more we have a dialogue about the topic of the reading, the more information that I can pull out of the cards for them. So they're going to get a much more thorough, in-depth reading. Not everybody likes to talk. People will come and say, just give me a general reading, just tell me what you see. And I can do that, and that's fine. And there's always a focus of the reading. There's something that comes out that it's very clear that the client needs information, needs to know about. But unless they talk to me and say, oh yes, what you're saying, this relates to something going on in my life, then we can dig deeper and deeper and get to the root of what the reading is about. So I think it's in everyone's best interest to be open and have a discussion. And, everything is very confidential. I don't discuss my readings with anyone. So it's just between the client and I, and it's a safe space.
It is a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you look after yourself after you've heard and felt what your client's going through? Because sometimes it's very difficult.
Sometimes it is extremely difficult. Most of the time, I guess because I get a sense of satisfaction out of doing the readings, they don't necessarily stay with me. I often remember them, but I don't get emotionally connected to them. There are the odd readings where, my heart just goes out to somebody for what they're dealing with. And it is really, really hard to let go. And they walk away and I think, oh, I wish I could have said or done more to help them. But you just have to remember that everybody's on their own journey, and I have to detach from it. I do everything that I can, and I do hope that I'm a help to these people, but I can't take on other people's issues. I'm the kind of person that I'd like to help everybody out and solve their problems, and but the reality is you can't. Everybody has to handle their issues the way they would do it. Whether you choose to take the guidance from the tarot cards or not, it's up to the client.
And that's an important aspect as a reader, that the question I fear the most is, should I do this? Because it's not up to me to tell you what you should do.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's up, the cards will show you different options.
Yes, absolutely.
So tell me a little bit more about some of the other things that you do, because I know that, at least I think some of the things that you do are a way to unwind and be creative.
Yes, absolutely. And that gets back to your point about how do I look after myself after reading. So I make jewelry, and I make soap, and I'm a big gardener. Getting my hands in the earth, that's very grounding, and it just gets me outside of myself. But I have been learning silversmithing for the last few years, and I'm loving it. Love sawing metal, who knew? And so I've started doing craft shows, and I did the Women's Art Festival in Kingston last year. And I just never thought that I would be the kind of person that would want to get out there and sell to the public, but I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, I'm making a lot of things out of sterling silver, and I incorporate semi-precious gemstones. I like crystals. They're so pretty, and there's an energy around all of them. So, you know, it's part of the metaphysical world, I think. And so I like to incorporate gemstones in my jewelry. And my soap as well. I make soaps that look like a cluster of amethyst, for instance. They look like gemstones that have come right out of the earth. They're really pretty and really unique. Yeah.
Yeah, they're very lovely and fun too.
Pardon me?
And fun too.
Yes.
Those gemstone soaps.
They are so fun. And the creative part of what I'm doing with the jewelry and the soap is I'm experimenting with different colors and textures, and it's so exciting to see things come out of the molds and to see what has actually occurred. You know, it's never the same thing twice, but I have so much fun doing it. Love it.
Sounds like you're making soap and jewelry the same way you do your reading, moving things around and mixing different things together.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
One technique goes to the next.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us how we can find you, Mary.
I am on Facebook, and my tarot page is called Tarot by Mary. I have 2 other pages as well for soap and jewelry. Soap is Moonflower Soaps, and my jewelry is Pretty Rocks, handcrafted jewelry. And people can email me, Mary Alps at yahoo.ca, or contact me by phone at 613-539-5026.
Thank you very much. Do you have a really quick message for people for times like today?
Oh dear. Don't get too caught up in the news, in the media. Take a time out. Do something fun. Just get your mind out of it.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us today, Mary.
Thank you so much, Marilyn. This has been fun.